What is going on, Nightmares? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a happy and safe new year. Going into the first of the year, you guys, I figured we will do another Halloween Horror Nights video. And in this video, we're going to start the year off right. And we are going to be looking at Jack the Clown, his history, and everything that we need to know about the Clown Prince of Carnage. So, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into the mind of Jack the Clown. Coulrophobia is defined as having an abnormal fear of clowns. When it comes to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, HHN, it's a fear that has become warranted. If you look back on the history of the event, there is one being that has appeared time and time again to rain carnage and chaos on its patrons. A being with a malicious face done up with white and green grease paint, a red nose, and a fiery hair of a clown. Born in Shady Brook Rest Home and Sanitarium along with his brother Eddie in the late 1800s, John Jack Schmidt was a carnival performer who loved to entertain children with his practical pranks and pratfalls during his stint with Dr. Oddfellow's Carnival of Thrills. He had escaped a poor and highly abusive family years earlier to run away and join the circus, leaving behind his younger brother Eddie. But underneath the grease paint and clown nose, he was a twisted murderer. He was wanted for the abduction and disappearance of several small children throughout the southern United States. Police officials and the FBI soon caught on that the missing children followed a pattern that led them closer and closer to the traveling freak show. On Halloween of 1920, the police were closing in on the clown killer. Fearing capture, Jack revealed his sinister secret to Dr. Oddfellow in the hopes of possible concealment. The doctor, himself wanted by the police for the accidental death of several patrons in a freak show accident years earlier under a different name, was not sympathetic to Jack's cause. He quickly admonished him for potentially bringing the police down upon the entire band of miscreants. He asked Jack to show him what he had done with the bodies of the children. Jack revealed the bodies of 13 children hidden in the confines of 3 small trunks that were kept in his traveling coach. Fearing the worst, Dr. Oddfellow had Jack murdered and hid the bodies from him and his victims within the traveling carnival's House of Horrors as part of an exhibit. Years later, the carnival was sold by Dr. Oddfellow, and the various dark rides and exhibits were split and sent to various owners around the states, including the House of Horrors and its grisly secret. 60 years later, in the fall of 1980, a television crew from the BBC was documenting the great dark rides of America. They journeyed throughout the eastern seaboard looking for forgotten carnival rides and attractions and stumbled upon the House of Horrors as it sat abandoned in a Louisiana junkyard. The crew asked permission to film the interior and pried open the doors of the forgotten relic to step inside. The smell of decay was overpowering as the bright camera light illuminated the darkened corridors. Moving past the faded walls and hanging fabric, the smell began to increase. The cameraman retched as he panned his camera towards a series of trunks. Behind the trunks was a large wooden box stenciled like a children's toy. One letter filled each side of the box. J-A-C-K. The cameraman steadied his camera as the host of the show investigated the box. He found a large crank on the side of the box and turned it. It started to move with some resistance, but after a few twists, it freely moved in a clockwise rotation. A clunky musical melody played out as the host turned it. Suddenly, however, the music stopped and wouldn't start again when he continued to rotate it. The camera light suddenly died and the crank rotated a few spins on its own. The top of the box flew open and a form sprung out, affixed to a giant spring that was decomposing body of Jack. After a thorough police investigation, the bodies of the 13 children, as well as the body of Jack, were shipped to the local Louisiana coroner's office for further examination. Around midnight on Halloween, the van carrying the body and the box of Jack disappeared into the Louisiana swamp in a freak accident. Later that week, the bodies of the BBC cameramen and hosts were found as the victims of a grisly and unsolved murder. Throughout the following years, urban legend retellings of the tale started with correspondence story about the decomposing body of Jack killing again. The legend states that Jack is searching for Dr. Oddfellow in a thirst for vengeance. The legend also states that Jack will reward anyone who releases him from his tomb by turning the crank with a very special reward. In 2000, Universal Studios bought the old props from the old House of Horrors, including the box that Jack was supposedly trapped in for so many years. An unsuspecting Universal employee went to test the validity of the legend, and Jack was unleashed on the unsuspecting Halloween Horror Nights guests for the first time, but certainly not the last. The Lord of Darkness resurrected Jack and his icons to take place in the birthday celebration. The now mortal Jack was soon caught by the authorities and committed to the place of his birth, Shady Brook Asylum, an institution that had suffered an inmate escape a few years earlier. Though typically isolated in the maximum security ward, Jack's mere presence seemed to have an adverse effect on the unstable population, who started emulating the crazed clown, much to the staff's dismay. Eventually, the inmates started a mass riot, gruesomely tortured the hospital staff, and put Jack in charge of the facility. During the chaos, Jack found records that his former boss and murderer, Dr. Oddfellow, was still alive, but presumably now a very old man, since he had been on the job since the 1920s, and running a small traveling carnival. Jack left Shady Brook, traveling to the depravity of Dr. Oddfellow's dark carnival and emporium. In the dark of the night, Jack stalked into the tents and took his long overdue vengeance. When he emerged, he was changed. During incarceration, Jack got a taste of what it was like to run the show, and he desired to be the ringmaster of his own carnival. He dressed himself in the bright red coat and boots of a proper ringmaster, also adorning himself with a crude top hat and terrible trinkets of his liking. He completed the transformation with Dr. Oddfellow's prized possession, which also presumably what kept Oddfellow alive and in motion for 80 years, a silver-headed cane of souls. Putting the carnival on hiatus, Jack spent the next few months traveling the world to find the right sideshow acts for his deadly Carnival of Carnage. He gathered a plethora of monsters, mutants, madmen, and maniacs, many with the egos nearly as large as his own, luring them with promises of fame, fortune, and plenty of fresh victims. After nearly a year of preparation, Ringmaster Jack opened his Carnival of Carnage in Orlando, Florida. In 2010, Jack, along with other past icons, revealed himself as one of the 5 minions of Fear himself. His desire to wreak havoc earned him the title of Chaos. Seemingly drunk with power after his transformation into a herald, Jack decided he wanted his spotlight back from his former master, Fear, and successfully created a sort of cult around himself, which he called Jack's Maniacs. With his ego in full swing, he committed himself to proving he was better than Fear, believing himself to be Horror Nights incarnate. He decided to prove his supremacy to everyone by expanding and improving on his Carnival of Carnage, making it more terrifying than ever. At the conclusion of the event, it was revealed Jack and his partner Chance were detained by authorities, with Jack sealed back inside his box and Chance being committed to Shady Brook Asylum. Jack's poem. His background obscured in the mist of time, odd indeed that grew into a gourmand of crime, with an insatiable taste for the bizarre and insane, a wicked sense of humor, a heart full of disdain. For all he encounters who end up the same, twisted, depraved, and never leave the same as they came. Play his card, and you might wish you had not, for you enter his world, and unless you forgot, the warnings were there for all to see. His victims are many, and no one goes free. Alright guys, so there you have it, the twisted backstory of Jack the Clown, the first original Halloween Horror Nights icon. Now, as you guys know, Jack the Clown is my favorite icon for the whole Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. And he's definitely a character that was very creative. He has a very awesome backstory. And if there's anyone that I consider the face of Halloween Horror Nights, it's gotta be Jack the Clown. So, I mean, he's just an awesome character that, you know, people brought up and were able to create and just bring into the world of horror and Halloween. You know, most people are afraid of clowns, and they have a good reason to be. And if there's any clown that you should be afraid of, it is definitely Jack the Clown. So there you guys have it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I wanted to do a quick backstory on Jack the Clown, since he is my favorite icon. And, you know, I got to start the year right. It's a new year, 2023 now. And what better way than to start the year off than talking about everyone's favorite clown, mine especially, Jack the Clown. So, thank you guys for watching. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And also consider becoming a member of the channel, just like the awesome people you're going to see at the end of the video. Remember, be the strange you wish to see in this world. And as always, you guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Be safe out there, and I will see you in the next Halloween Horror Nights video.